9/11 truthers who I've been telling you for years are dangerous.
Let's talk a little bit about a Gregolog you did regarding a show on FX cable channel, and it's all about character.
Apparently, it's the first show ever to tackle 9/11 conspiracies in a fictional episode. It was Rescue Me, the show about firefighters with Dennis Leary. There's a character in it who goes by Daniel-san Judd is the actor. He plays Franco Rivera. He believes that it was 9/11 was a preemptive strike by a neoconservative government. I think that means Bush. And what angers me about this is that people are treating it with respect. The New York Times wrote a piece about it. They interviewed the producer. The producer described the actor. The actor believes this stuff, that the actor is well-read and very passionate about it. They say this about conspiratorialists all the time, but they never say these people are idiots. They're mentally ill. They should be treated with respect. It's an insult to people who are victims of 9/11 and their families. It's an insult to firefighters. I am surprised that they're doing this.
Especially Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
He lose firefighters, buys fire trucks and
It makes no sense to me why he would do this, because he's a smart guy.
So this episode has already aired?
No, it hasn't aired yet. I think this is going to be the last season of Rescue Me, and I think that the reason why they're doing this is to generate just publicity, which is working. But the thing is, it just drives me nuts to say that somebody, just because you're passionate about something, you're right. Well, Mark David Chapman was passionate about the Beatles, and what he did was horrible. So just because you believe in something doesn't make it right, and people are too scared to confront 9/11 conspiracies because it's like the crazy guy in the subway. You don't want to make eye contact, but sooner or later you got to make eye contact and you got to tell that guy to get lost.
Right, or just let him sleep on the plastic tank.
I prefer to sleep.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell is the only other person who you won't make eye contact with. She also believes it was
this guy. They're friends. This guy actually makes her sound almost sane. And you know what's great is they also say these people are well read. What that means is they actually read the same crazy books. It's a self-perpetuating conspiracy. The conspiracy theorist reads other conspiracy theories.
Greg, I got bad news. You know, a few years ago, we talked about Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, and he's been on this couch. He's got a new book out right now, but that's not the book we're talking about.
Right.
His new book is called Operation Dark Heart, but it's Operation Able Danger, which right now leads on FoxNews.com as our lead story. Catherine Herridge doing some follow-up on what we knew about Mohammed Atta leading up to 9/11.
That's right. Some witnesses, apparently there was a redacted form of what people in the intelligence community knew regarding that man right there, Mohammed Atta, and in the Able Danger program. And apparently the report had been redacted. All the names had been blacked out. Well, FoxNews.com got a clean copy and called a number of the witnesses, 5 in all. All of them said that we told investigators one thing, and none of those things actually showed up in the 9/11 Commission. And, in fact, the investigators from the Department of Defense were a little agitated and seemed aggressive.
So why wouldn't that show up in that report? Well, these 5 witnesses claimed that the Defense Department was worried about taking some of the blame for 9/11. But here's what I don't understand. Why wouldn't they put in the report these findings? Because maybe that would look at least like they were kind of following the trail of Mohammed Atta, instead of just having this whole situation happen. You know, at least it gives the American public the image that at least we're kind of onto him.
Yeah, but then,
I don't know which one's worse.
But were we onto him, and did we have a picture of him, and did we know that? Did we know him by name? And the name at that point was Mohammed El Sayed. And if we did know him, why didn't we stop him? That's the problem.
But does it look any worse than in August, Bin Laden determined to attack in the U.S.? That looks bad. There was so many mistakes. There was so many times where we had a chance to get Bin Laden. You can go back and back and back. But for some reason, the Defense Department put their line in the sand and said these 5 people that brought up the fact that we were tracking a cell that included Mohammed Atta in it leading up to 9/11 was redacted, not included. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer would not stand for this. He said it was called Operation Able Danger, and we were tracking Mohammed Atta. And when he was interviewed by Phil Zelkow, who ended up joining the State Department, he said, you know, Tony, this is an important part of the story. We'll make sure it's in the 9/11 report. And it wasn't. There was no follow-up. And Colonel Shaffer would not be corralled. Now, I don't understand how this led to Operation Dark Heart and the purchases of 9,500 books by the Defense Department that were hensely destroyed.
That were written by Shaffer.
Written by Shaffer.
His new book.
They burned him.
They did.
They're going to make him a bestseller. And they're burning his books as if that's going to stop it. As if we're going to be out of ink. We're not going to make other books?
Sure. Well, according to Colonel Dave LePan, Assistant to the Secretary of Defense, he says the investigation found that prior to September 11, 2001, Able Danger team members did not identify Mohammed Atta or any other 9/11 hijacker, while 4 witnesses claim to have seen a chart depicting Mohammed Atta and possibly other hijackers or cells involved in 9/11. The investigation determined that their recollections were not accurate. So in other words, they talked to a bunch of people and they said, yeah, I remember that exactly. Well, according to the Department of Defense, they were wrong.
Well, what's going on? Because some people who agreed to speak to FoxNews.com did so without giving their names because they fear repercussions. I mean, come on. What kind of repercussions could there? I mean, I believe that they fear repercussions. What I'm saying is, why should they be put in that position where they would actually fear that? I mean, are we all on the same team here? I think.
They could be worried about Islamic terrorists. They might be worried about people from the other side. And some of them, for all we know, at least one is retired, but the others could still be working at the Pentagon, and that could be a prickly situation.
It's not about justice. It's not about agenda. It's not about mobilizing people. It's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.